I've now just wrapped up my experiences and my emotions from the 3x3 game. And someone who knows that very well is my special guest, Anneli Maley.
Action! Sorry. Go shoot. Ask away. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
So, Males, the first time we officially met, I can remember we were at old mate Bruce Gray's gym,
Yep.
Body World. You were with your dad. You were a fresh little baby out of the AIS. And I remember we had a conversation that was very real and authentic about life and the next steps. And we need to give a shout out to Loki in the back. Hey, honey. Maley stuff.
So
And
I don't actually do anything without him. He's an interview.
And we were just talking about the next steps in life and basketball and how it can be really hard. And
Mhm.
I just want to say you have achieved so much, not only on the court, but off the court as well. And I think you should just be so extremely proud of yourself, because I know it's hard to tap yourself on the shoulder, but it is, oh my God, I'm actually getting chills and a bit hot and flustered
Yeah.
thinking about it now. But those conversations you can have with people
Mhm.
really do stick with you. And I think that's why we remain good friends today.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I will say that, like, I remember saying to you when we played together in Southside, I was like, do you remember that conversation? Because yes, I was fresh out the institute, but I had taken about a year and a bit off basketball. Like, I hadn't played basketball in a year and a bit. I was going to Bruce's gym to try and get, like, my body kind of back into, like, a basketball shape, I guess. And I was terrified. Like, I hadn't touched a basketball. I hadn't been in a basketball stadium. And I knew that you had been through some injuries and you had been through the whole, like, the fear of returning back, not just to basketball, but like the social aspect, being around these people, like feeling like people are talking about, like, all of that. And I remember going up to you and being like, you don't know me at all, but I was wondering if you could give me some advice on, like, how to come back to basketball after stepping away. And, like, that conversation meant so much to me. Like, I held on to so much of that. And from there, I actually went, like, I think like 2 weeks later, not even a week later, I went to my first WNBL season in Adelaide after not touching a basketball, because I was like, Bec said, don't be scared. So I'm not going to be scared. I'm going to go do these things. Like, even you said you were never going to feel ready. And that was something that I kind of, like, really held on to. I was like, I still don't feel ready for half of the opportunities that I do now, but you're never going to feel ready, you know?
Period. And I think
Yeah.
it just shows about where we started, where we've come from. Obviously, with age comes more wisdom as well. And before, I was just speaking about my experience with 3x3, and you are someone who obviously knows that game very,
Yeah.
very well. So we need to start out by giving you a big congratulations, because you just won gold at the Asia Cup in Singapore. So how was it being crowned champions, let alone like you just did a casual 3P?
First of all, it was hot. It was so hot, and not just hot. It was like 90% humidity. So, like,
Oh,
you were just wet. You were just wet. So
yeah.
that's what I was saying. Like, I was hot the whole time. I was so hot. Anyway, it was a really cool feeling. I think that the weird thing about 3x3 is that people don't understand is, like, they see these smaller countries and they're like, oh yeah, you should be winning this, right? Like, you're playing against these smaller countries, like Australia should win it. And it's like, these countries have so much time and resource that they put into 3x3 that they are so good. They are so, like, Thailand are good. They are good at 3x3. Like, people see, like, these small, like, Thailand girls, or like the shorter Japanese girls, and they're like, oh, you should beat them. And it's like, you don't understand how 3x3 works if you think we should be beating these teams that only play 3x3. Like, it's a completely different game. So it was so challenging because you have that, like, expectation of you should be winning. But, like,
Mm-hmm.
we were really pushed in a few games. Like, that we were down, like, a few times against some other teams. Like, the Asian region play 3x3 so well and so fast and so quick, and, like, it was actually quite challenging. Like, yeah, like, I'll take the moment to, like, pat myself in the back and be like, yeah, like, look what we just did. We just did a 3-pick.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty awesome. But I think the coolest part was seeing, like, how good those smaller countries are at 3x3 that don't get a chance in the 5-on-5 game because they don't have the resources, but in the 3x3 space they can just succeed because that's all they do.
Mm-hmm. And I spoke about that earlier about how obviously from when I was playing, we had like little to no resources and how
Yeah.
it's gotten a lot better for you guys, but there's still a long way to go. And how early on I was like, we're going into these things like almost blind and having
Uh-huh.
one camp for 2 days. Whereas these nations, like it's been popular in Europe and
Yeah.
Asia for years.
Yeah.
And we are like so far behind in regards to that. And I think, like, what do you love so much about this style of basketball?
I think that like if I didn't love it, it would be hard to convince me to do because of the lack of resources. So
Mm-hmm.
like if I didn't absolutely adore it, it would be really, really hard to convince me to do because you're like, you got to take time off work, you don't get paid. It's just like you go because you love the game. And for me, it's the physicality and the speed. Like how physical it is, how many fouls are let go, and the speed of the game. Like the basketball side of it is so much fun. But I also really love like the community of 3x3. Like all the teams are friends. The
Beautiful.
FIBA representatives are really supportive. It's like street ball kind of everyone like celebrates each other in a way that I don't find we do in 5-on-5. Like in 5-on-5, sometimes I feel like there's a bit of tall puppy syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
But I find in the 3x3 world, you're celebrated for being different. You're celebrated for having all these weird tattoos. You're celebrated for having funky hair and being a
Oh,
personality.
yeah.
And I love that part of the 3x3 game is they celebrate individuals in a way that I don't think they do in 5-on-5. And that just makes the culture like not just the culture of like the Kangaroos, but the culture of 3x3 is so much fun. It's just like celebrating being different in a space that is basketball, which I don't find is super um, present in other formats of basketball.
Yes, I definitely agree. I remember at
Yeah.
the World Cup, we lost to China to
Yeah.
come third to hopefully go to the Olympic qualifying game. The Olympic qualifiers, sorry, for the upcoming tournament. And after obviously being distraught and crying,
Yeah.
then when China were playing for the gold, because we're like, yeah, we're part of Asia, we were like
Yeah.
cheering for China to beat
Yeah.
France and
Right.
sorry, but like that wouldn't happen in 5-on-5. Like what was going on? But it
No,
was
never.
beautiful.
Yeah, it is a really
And
cool thing.
and now going from Asia Cup, you have the World Cup coming up, being held in Mongolia. So what does the preparation look like for you and the Kangaroos?
So for me personally, I don't actually know because so I leave to go to LA on the 20th of April, and whether I know or not I make the team will determine my availability for the World Cup.
Okay.
So I don't actually know. That's the hard part. Is like personally, like it's, you chase this dream of being in the WNBA and it might mean that I am not available for that tournament. But
Hmm.
like stranger things have happened. Like, like 2 years ago when I was at Chicago, I said I wasn't available for the World Cup because I was playing games. And then I got cut on the plane on the way to a game. All of a sudden I'm available for the World Cup and I fly straight to Vienna. So you never actually know. Like, it's a bit of a guessing game. And like the thing about being on a training camp contract means that you can get cut at any time.
Hmm.
So I just have to be ready for like, okay, if I get cut, then hopefully I put myself up for the World Cup stuff. But if the girls get together and they find a team that really works and they go to some other tournaments and it's like, oh, actually, Anneli, you missed out on the prep. I'd still cheer, like, go for it, like so I still want to be involved in it in whatever
Yeah.
capacity I can. I do know that we hopefully are getting on some women's series stops over the next few months. Fingers crossed. That's something that we will use as preparation for Mongolia,
Amen.
but
Yeah.
um, I nothing has been actually confirmed yet. So at this stage, we might have a camp before Mongolia, but there hasn't been anything confirmed. But I do think that we will be sent to a women's series because, as you know, like a camp doesn't even like you can't emulate a 3x3 game. You
No.
just have to play it. Like you can't
The
train
camps are just
it.
torture compared to a
You can't
game.
train it. You have to like you have to play it. You have to play a
Yeah.
game. That's the only way to like prepare for a major tournament is to play games. So hopefully we can find a way to do that.
And speaking now of your 5-on-5 career now, like you just said, LA, like this will be a great transition in. Now let's just give everyone a quick rundown of how you got to where you are today and what you're about to go on to. So you went to college for 2 years where you played in Div 1 with Oregon and TCU. And then you've also played, obviously, in the WNBL for many years, which includes Adelaide Lightning. Like we spoke about, you were a baby, you were tan, blonde hair. I remember you in the white uniform.
So tan. Yes.
City Uni Flames. We were teammates at Southside Flyers, Bendigo Spirit, which I think was your breakout years, and then now with the Perth Lynx. So I want to ask, because there's a lot of young people who, how did you find the transition of your junior basketball where you went from, the AIS to having a year or so off, then and your college experience, and then going into your senior career and like debuting, and now you're having this WNBL experience?
Yeah, I think the biggest transition for me was knowing that you have to have something that makes you different, right? So like when you get to seniors, everyone can shoot, everyone can score, everyone can do these things, but what gives you your edge? Like for me, I really leaned into the fact that I was a hustle player and a rebounder. That was something that I knew that not everyone could do. So I made that my thing. And I made that as something that it was like, that's what sets me apart from other people. And no matter like, and I truly believe like, no matter how tall you are, no matter what your physical stature, you can do effort plays and
Yep.
no matter what level. So I guess like my biggest learning point and transition was to lean into the effort plays, to lean into the rebounding, because that's what will set me apart from other people. And that's what will help me like climatize into these senior teams. Because when you are younger and you're playing like 1 minute here, 30 seconds there, 1 minute there, you might not even get to shoot the ball, right? Like you might sub on and have a turnover or air ball, right? But when you're in, it's like such a small sample size. You can like play defense so hard, you might accidentally foul. You can dive on balls. You can get rebounds. You can do these things that will earn you more playing time to where you can get to the point where you can develop yourself as a, in a different role. But I think that was like my biggest learning curve from juniors to seniors is that like effort is what you should lean into as you're trying to gain more footing in a senior team.
And I love that. I think any male or female watching this, like that is a really big note. And I think not a lot of people, I don't think I've heard that before. And I think that's a big one because you are like on your scout, it's literally she is the effort player. She is doing this and it's all things you can control. So now I want to go into, you've just won the Susie Batkovic MVP medal in the 2021-2022 season playing with Bendigo. And then that obviously created an amazing opportunity for you to go to the WNBA. So you've played a few games with the Chicago Sky in the 2022 season with them. Can you talk me through what that meant to you?
Oh my God, what a cool experience. For one, like I think like the WNBA has come such a long way even in the last few years in terms of like visibility and resources and stuff. My first training camp, I had to pay my way over there. So like shout out to my agent and my agency, like the FAM agency, they really took care of me. And like I had just bought a house. I could not afford to fly myself to America. So my agent paid for my flight over there. He's amazing. Like Brandon Ward from the fam, he paid for my flight over there because I couldn't afford it. I was like, Brandon, I can't go to training camp. I literally just emptied out my savings, bought a house, and then now, oh yeah, pay for your flights. I was like, how? Like, what do you mean? Like, so we, but I was prepared to like take out a loan to go. Like, I was so excited to go, and like there was no expectations on me at all. Like the coach pretty much told me that he didn't like Australians. He was done with Australians and he just wanted to, my agent pestered him. So he wanted to give me a go. Right. And I just gave that camp my absolute all. And there was no open position, right? There was no open spot. I knew that going in that there was no open spot. And then I just wanted to be, like the best version of myself and hopefully create an opportunity for the following year. So, unfortunately for one of my teammates, she got injured. So I was able to sign an injury, like a injury contract, like a player injury
Placement?
contract replacement. Yeah. So I could play a couple games until she was back. And I got the opportunity not just to like be there, but I got to play. Like I got to play and like it was like 7 games or something. Like I got to like my first game against LA. I think I played like 15 or 20 minutes. Like I got to play, and that was purely based off my rebounding ability and my hustle plays, my ability to play defense and get extra possessions. And for me, it was just such a cool thing. Like I was on the court with my idols. Like my absolute idols. And I think I've said this to you when I was playing with you at the South Side. It was the coolest thing for me. Like I remember watching you play at the bloody Veneto Club in when you were with Wayne, you know? Like
Flashbacks. Yeah.
yeah, and we get to step out on the court together. I have those moments like WNBL, Opals, 3x3, whatever, but then like in the WNBA, I was going to step out on the court and be on the court at the same time as Candace Parker and Emma Meesman. Like wow, it was such a cool experience. Like, and I loved it. Like every moment of it. I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, you disappointed you got cut." I was like, "No." I was so grateful for that opportunity, and I really think I grabbed it like with two hands and ran with it, and I got the most out of it. And then I got another training camp contract because of how I went in that year. They were like, "We want you back for the next year." And yeah, I was just so grateful. Like there was no part of me that was like, "Oh, I deserve to stay on for longer." I was like, "I deserve whatever I work for, and I deserve whatever opportunity was given to me, and I'll run with that." Like, but you don't deserve anything. Like, you just take the opportunities and move with that. Like, I think that once players start to think like, "Oh, I deserve this," I feel like it's a slippery slope into entitlement. Whereas, like, I felt like I really just took the opportunity and was like grateful for it and just kind of ran with that.
And you mentioned Candace Parker, who she's one of my goats. Like, I absolutely loved watching her play. What was it like playing alongside her or just at training? What was that like?
Like the standard of competition, and you really get to see like someone who is the ultimate professional, so talented and so successful, and to see the way she went about her business still in the way that she had never achieved anything, you know? I
Yeah.
thought that was the coolest thing. That was like, yeah, the biggest takeaway for me. It was super cool. She was so nice, so easy to
Oh.
talk to. Yeah, I love that. Like sometimes they say don't meet your idols. I disagree. All my idols that I've met have been great, you know?
I love that for you, and I'm deep down, I'm quite jealous because oh yeah,
Yeah.
she's a goat.
Yeah.
But now let's fast forward a little bit. It's now 2023,
Yep.
where you received, like you said, you set yourself up. You got this training camp contract again for Chicago
Mhm.
Sky. So you did all the preseason prep with them, played in some practice matches as well, but then unfortunately didn't get a rostered position with
Yeah.
Chicago Sky for the regular season. And what I want to say real quick for people listening, and you mentioned it a bit before, is that the WNBA is so brutal and cutthroat. You can be on a training camp contract or a rostered player. You can get waived at any time. Like you said, you can be on a plane and you find out on a post that you've been cut. You
Yep.
can get traded and you have to uproot your life. I think this is what's so crazy and the difference between the WNBL and the WNBA. Can you
Yeah.
explain now? It's your second time going, what you learned in that preseason. And I guess when you left this time,
Yeah.
was that tough emotionally, or were you in the same mindset of, hey, what a great opportunity?
Well, I think like there were so many moving pieces because like this time going to training camp, I knew that there was a spot up for grabs. Like I knew there was a spot available. So, but I will say like I didn't show up as my best self that training camp. I had a year where in the WNBL where I questioned everything and I wasn't
Mm.
confident, and I I left that WNBL season not super confident. Like it was night and day between that year and the year before. Like I think it's hard. Like I was talking about the tall poppy syndrome, like fresh up
Yeah.
an MVP. I felt like everyone doubted me. And I felt like I was being questioned for just existing. And that was really hard for me. Like I didn't deal
Yeah.
with the scrutiny well. Instead of like standing up taller, I tried to shrink myself to fit other people's expectations of me. And that meant by the time I showed up to that training camp, I barely put myself out there. I didn't take risks. I just slot into this role that I thought they wanted me to do, and I didn't show up as my most aggressive self. So I will say, like, I didn't have the best training camp compared to the last year. Like, I do think I was still good. And then I still at that point was looking at a roster spot, and then we had 2 injuries in the 5 spot, which I'm not a 5-man.
Yeah.
I am not a WNBA level 5-man. You know, I could maybe in the WNBA swing into the 4, but I am definitely not big enough to be a 5-man in the WNBA. So I was kind of aware that, you know, this could mean that my spot is no longer available, just based on the fact that I am not 6'5", you know, and that's something that, like, I can't change. You know, those kind of situations, like, you have to look at and go, you know what? There's, like, I'm not a 5-man, so that's okay. The thing that people don't really understand is I got cut and uncut like 4 or 5 times in the space of 2 days. So I got waived.
Yes.
I went home, packed my bags, showed up the next morning to do my physical, my exit physical, and then the trainer goes to me, "Oh, you weren't on the list of people on Twitter this morning that got waived." And I was like, I sat in that room and they said, "Anneli, you're waived." What do you mean? And and then the GM walks in and is like, "Oh my God, we forgot to tell you we haven't waived you because we haven't gotten the rights to this other 5-man yet." I was like, "Oh, my flight to Australia is in a few hours." So they're like, "Oh, cancel your flight. You're going to train with us. Like, we need you for training." And, like, obviously I was like, "Sure, whatever." Like, I loved the organization. Chicago, the people were beautiful. The coach was awesome. The girls were great. So I was like, yeah, I'll stick around. I'll have some fun, whatever. Like, it is what it is. I know a lot of people would be like, "No, you cut me." But I was like, I don't care. Like, I will stick
Yeah.
around. I'll be training bait, whatever. So I practice. My flight from Australia gets cancelled. I then, midway through practice, the coach says to me, at the end of practice, we'll book you a new flight home and you'll go home after this. I was like, okay, that's fine. Easy.
Yeah.
Practice finishes and he goes, "Actually, go home, pack your bags. You're coming to Minnesota." I was like, okay. Also at this point, I didn't have a home. Like, I just packed out of my hotel. So, like, I just went and, like, repacked my bags. Like,
Oh my
I was like, all right.
God.
So
Yeah.
I was on my way to the airport, like, with all the girls in the bus, and everyone's like, "Are you on the team?" I was like, "I have no idea. I think so. Right
I'm not
now,
sure.
right? I'm not sure. I'm coming to Minnesota. That's all I know." So we were then at the airport, and the coach says to me, "Look, like, we're waiting to find out if we get the rights for this 5-man. If we don't, you're on the team. If we do, you're not on the team." I was like, "Okay, am I on the team right now?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay, sure, whatever." We're on the flight, like, we've taken off. We've been in there for 10 minutes. And my coach walks down the aisle, leans over 2 people, daps me up, and says, "I'm finna buy you something nice." I was like, what? And then I was like, did I just get waved? And, like, I was laughing because I really liked my coach. Like, he was a really nice guy. And, like, there was no animosity. It had nothing to do with me as a basketball player or a person. I just wasn't a 5-man. So it was
Yeah.
like, okay, sweet. We touched down in Minnesota, and, like, my teammates sitting next to me were like, "Did you just get waved?" I was like, "I think I did just get waved. I think I just got waved." We touched down in Minnesota. It gets announced I've been waved, and I was like, "Okay." He was like, "Oh, well, why don't you stay with us tonight in the hotel? Here's your per diem. Like, we'll pay you for your time." And I was like, "That's fine. Like, whatever. Go out for dinner with the girls, and then you can sit courtside with us in Minnesota. Do you want to come with us on the road to LA?" Like, they were great. You know, like, it wasn't
Yeah.
that those
That
stories
is
that you
nice.
like, "Oh, you're cut. See ya." Like, they were
Yeah.
so nice. It might have had something to do with the fact that, like, I really put into my relationships with these people. Like, I really, like, actually, you know, put into it. Anyway, so he's like, "I'm finna buy you something nice." And I was like, okay. I'm sitting in the, like, hotel in Minnesota. I call my 3x3 coach and I'm like, "Hey, I've been waived. I can come to the World Cup." He's like, "Oh, we have to be there in a week and a half." I was like, "I'm not traveling 40 hours back to Australia when it's an
Yeah.
8-hour flight from Chicago to Vienna." So I said to my coach, I sat him down and I was like, "Okay, so you said you're going to buy me something nice. How would you feel about buying my flights to Vienna?" And they put me in business class flights to Vienna. And they paid for my hotel and my car the whole time I was in Chicago for a week and a half, let me use the practice facilities. They took care of me, and it was a really great experience. Like, you hear people getting waves and it was a really crappy experience. I had a great time. The girls were great. I got to keep practicing. The organization took care of me. And then I got to go play in the World Cup. So that was my experience. Long story, but it was pretty great.
But I think this is such a great insight of just the highs and lows of sport in general, and like really what athletes go through. Because I think people just think we rock up and we play a tournament sipping pina coladas at the beach in our break, and it's like, bro, that is not even remotely close.
Absolutely not even remotely close.
I'm so happy.
The part
sorry, go.
No, the part that I wanted to add to the end of this story is like the way that, so like I was at the World Cup, right? We had just won the bronze medal. No, we just lost to France. We were just about to play in the bronze medal match. And Bec Gardner does her Achilles, and she was playing for Chicago. I get a call from my agent. Can you be on a flight tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. back to Chicago? And I was like, okay, yes. All right, I'll go. So I said yes. I then go play the bronze medal game. We win with Marina shooting 2 shots on the buzzer. And I get back to my phone and it's announced everywhere. Anneli's contract, she's going back to Chicago. My teammates Marina looks at me and is like, when did you sign this? I was like, I literally just, I don't know, like literally just like, and so I had signed to go back for the rest of the season. And I had gone to the airport the next morning and I was sitting at the airport. There was just a couple of moving pieces going on, but I was ready to go back to Chicago. At the airport, all my teammates were still in Vienna, and I get a call from back home that Dad was sick as I'm at the airport. And he let me know, he called me, told me he is going to have to go through chemo. He's getting, he had breast cancer. He's getting all of that. His surgery is next week. And I didn't even bat an eyelid. I just called and canceled my flight. I was like, not going back to Chicago. I want to be there for him as he goes through his treatment, as he wakes up, all those things. And I would never change that decision for the world. You know, like I got to be there when he woke up from his surgery. I got to be there for him, you know, and like help with, at the time he had a newborn, so help with Joe. And so that's the part of the story that people don't know, is that like they're like, oh, there was a whole rhetoric going around that I didn't go back because of my mental health, because Chicago announced it as personal reasons. And so a lot of the assumptions were I didn't go back because of my mental health. I didn't go back because I chose my family, and that's a decision I would never, ever change.
I couldn't agree more. When you go through those things, like seriously similar situation, went to the Olympic qualifying tournament, came back. Dad told me he was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin lymphoma. I wasn't obviously going anywhere after that, but it puts life into perspective about, and you and I are so similar. We're so close with our family, but at the end of the day, basketball is just a game and family is forever. And like why you do what you do in the first place. So
literally.
I think that's a really important, though. Like that's why I'm here, is to share people's stories like that.
Yeah.
Not that really it's anyone's business, but if you had any questions, guys, this is the real truth, okay?
This is the real stuff.
This just like makes me so happy for you, and I'm so excited. I really am for you, because now you have another shot.
I do.
You know, now you have another shot at this in the WNBA. You've been playing consistently well in the WNBL with the Lynx, and now you've received this training camp contract for the Los Angeles Sparks. So now I want to know a couple of questions. How did you feel when you got that call? And now it's been 2 years since Chicago, and now what is your mindset going into this?
Well, when I got that call, like obviously my first thought was like, I struggle with a bit of imposter syndrome. So I was like, me? What do you mean? And my agent was like, only you've been playing so well. And I was like, no. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, my first instinct was to question it, right?
Yeah.
And like, that is something I'm really working on, is to accept and like just see my successes and stuff. But in the moment, like in moments of like heightened emotion, I tend to fall back into just questioning myself. So, like initially, like the panic of imposter syndrome, like what games are they watching? Like, kind of panicking about that. But after having some conversations with people that I really trust and love, like I was able to sit back and just like really appreciate that I have a chance to have this opportunity again. And I like it just feels like the right time, because last year I wouldn't have gone. I just didn't feel like I was in the right space mentally, physically to go overseas and to pursue a training camp. But this year I feel like I'm excited and ready for whatever it is. Similar to that first time that I went, like there is no losing here. I get
Mm-hmm.
this opportunity and it's going to be so hard, but I'm going to either walk out of it like, what a great opportunity. I put my best foot forward and it didn't work out. And now I get to have all these other opportunities. Like there's no such thing as closing doors. Like you just open a new one. So I just think that like my mindset towards it now is like, there's literally no losing in this opportunity. Like there is no negative outcome. Either way, I will learn something. Either way, I will open a new door. It might be the new door of being able to play in a whole WNBA season, or it might be a new door of getting to play at the World Cup in Mongolia, or it might be a new door of coming home and getting to start a new job. I might try something else. Like there is no such thing as just like a shut door with no other open ones. Like you really close one and all these others open up around you. So I'm really excited for that. And that is like the mindset that I'm looking at it now, is there's no possibility in which I don't walk out of this a better person. And I really do believe in the coaching staff and the management at LA. Like I was coached by Reagan Peebley at TCU, and she's now the GM
Yeah.
at Sparks, and she is one of the coolest people I've ever met. And I really trust her when she says that she built this club and the organization around good people. And so I really trust her when she says that. So one of my biggest why I play basketball is to connect with other people,
Yeah.
to build relationships with other people, and to like, because it's like, we don't just play basketball to put a ball in a hoop. Like that's not
No.
why you do it. It's the community, it's the family, it's the shared experiences. So when we're 80, we can look back on our life and like, you're not going to remember the buckets you scored, but you are going to remember those tense moments or those funny road trips. Like you're going to look back on your career and remember the people that you shared it with, not how many points you scored. So when she
Yeah.
said that she built it around good people, and I've been able to meet some of the coaches and I already know some of the girls, like I truly believe that. And so I am, more excited than just the basketball. I'm excited to go and connect with some really cool people and like expand my little world, and expand my knowledge of not just basketball, but friends, family, commitment, all of that. Yeah, I just don't think I would have been able to have that same mindset last year or the year before.
Well, I think so many people can take away a lot of things, especially from your mindset and your growth perspective. I think it's super important. And thank you for opening up, telling us your stories. I love hearing about the people behind it all. And yes,
Yeah.
basketball, like you said, is what brings us together. But it's really like deep down. I love hearing, what you go through, and everyone can definitely learn something from this. So, Maylee, I want to say thank you so much for coming on the show and being my very first special guest. And here at basketball.com today, you were wishing you the best of luck at your training camp or World Cup, like you said, whatever door it opens. So go kill it.
Love you. I love you so much. Mwah.
Mwah.